Wow. Yeah. Amazing to see all of you guys. Yeah. And so amazing to have these wonderful people here who I'm going to talk to you about in a moment. This space is being donated to us by Industry City. This is not our studio space, as you know, and they usually charge a lot of money, and we're really grateful to Industry City for their help with this. We're also grateful to BK1, who donated a lot of the equipment and gave us a very good deal on that. They have a theater down in one of the buildings. I want to mention my amazing staff. Marina Dunnington, who's over here. Kevin Kong, who is amazing. Where are you, Kevin? Where's Kevin? Way back there. Kevin, okay, he's way back there. Molly Haran, who is back there. Kayla Zanakis, who's right here. And Mitch Richmond, who's been very helpful to us throughout, and he helped get all this set up. He's over there. I want to thank the Work Studies. You guys know who you are. Can you just stand up, Work Studies? Yeah. These are all current, and except for Tawny, a former, students who help with things, and they're still studying acting, and they're really dedicated to the craft, and they were very much a part of this and a part of how all this works. So, and this is our 10th anniversary, which is a miracle, you know, so. Gracie, thank you for mentioning Gracie. Sorry, where's Gracie? Gracie! Gracie Greenberg is a fearless 19-year-old who goes to Pace studying musical theater, and she has the cojones. She will do anything. She will call anybody. She'll do like, I'll just cold call people and like, you know, sell them shit, you know, so. But she's bubbly, she's energetic, she's helpful, she's enrolled, she helps us so much. And of course, all of you. Yeah. So I think, Sam, this is your fourth talk for us.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
I don't know. Probably.
And Chris did a talk for us with Jurnee during COVID. We had a year and a half when we were online, and that was an interesting time. But we've never had all three of you together. And the reason you're all here, you know, they have that 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Basically, everybody I know is because of Sam. And so many people who you know, Sam, have come and worked with me or trained with me or just like, you know, sold me a bagel. And it's through you that I know Chris, because I remember when we first met Chris, it was at a play that he was doing in the East Village, I think, with Marin Ireland. Is that right? Am I getting that right? Yeah.
That's right.
A long time ago.
Francis McDormand was in it too.
I was
4th
like,
Street.
who the fuck is this guy? He's amazing. He's like a powerhouse. And then one day I get this call from Jurnee, and she'd met Sam on a plane, and we got to working together, and I love these actors, and I love how, I mean, they're doing this for me and they're doing this for you, and they're paying it forward, and we're just gonna have a good conversation, yeah? So hopefully it'll be good. The format is that I'm gonna introduce them. I have some questions that we've sort of put together that hopefully will just be like, I'll sit back and watch and you guys will talk among yourselves about, you know, the craft and the business, both those things. And then we've had some submitted questions, and then if we have time, we'll take some freestyle questions from you guys, yeah? Okay, sound good? And then we'll take a selfie at the end, yeah? All right. So let me just get my bio here. then I'll step out of the way. Jurnee Smollett. Award-winning actress Jurnee Smollett has captivated audiences in projects like Lovecraft Country, Birds of Prey, Friday Night Lights, going way back, Eve's Bayou, right? And stay tuned for a really amazing project we worked together on for Apple TV, where she becomes an arson investigator, and it's Dennis Lehane as who's amazing, right? Gone Baby Gone, all that. So that's going to be great with Leguizamo, and who else is in that? Terry, yeah, like it's off the charts. So that's Jurnee, yeah. Meaning that's a thumbnail sketch of Jurnee, because Jurnee has such a resume. Chris Messina. Is a celebrated actor recognized for his roles in The Mindy Project, Sharp Objects, and Air. I mean, that moment on the phone in Air is like highlight reel for the rest of your life, Chris. That's great. He's seamlessly transitioned between television and film and stage, showcasing his range as both a leading man and a character actor. And just, when I talked to Sam about you, Chris, what Sam says is that you're just such a nerd for the craft. Like which is great for these people here. You're just so obsessed with the craft. And so that's why it's great. And I just love you. I love you. And during COVID, he was feeling a little restless or lost even, because everything was shut down. And I was so fortunate that he signed up to do a master class with me that Jurnee was observing, and actually did a scene with Celestine, did several scenes with Celestine. We worked on Pinter, we worked on Tennessee Williams, we worked on Chekhov, and just another student in the class, and just so obsessed with the craft, and what an honor that was, and a lot of fun. Yeah, Celestine, are you here? She wanted to be here. Well, I hope her ears are ringing. And I should also just say, I want to shout out my faculty. I see Matthew back there, and we have just this is our 10th anniversary, and Matthew and Nate have been here from day one, and we couldn't do it without the faculty. They're just amazing. Yeah, so thank you, guys. And Sammy, who I love, and we've known each other for 33, 34 years and worked together pretty much that whole time. Met by accident in a summer class at Bill Esper's studio, and then I would sub for Bill, and we got to know each other, and we got to coach, and we smoked a lot of cigarettes together in those days. And it's been such a pleasure to grow together. And he was the best man at my wedding. Yeah. So Sam Rockwell, Academy Award-winning actor Sam Rockwell, is known for his transformative performances in films like Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Jojo Rabbit, Moon, which if you haven't seen, you should see. Fosse Verdon, American Buffalo on Broadway, Fool for Love on Broadway, and on and on and on. So these are the folks. So is there something you guys want to talk about?
Thanks for coming out, everybody. So
Yeah,
nice.
thanks for
Yeah,
coming.
it's nice you all came. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start?
I'm wondering when you all knew that this was what you wanted to do. and how you knew that.
Because y'all look all at me. I'll start. Gosh, all right. That's a great question. I've been in front of the camera since I was 10 months old here in New York. I was born in New York Hospital, Elmhurst, Queens. We lived. And
Nobody from Queens?
come on, where you at? All right. So it chose me before I chose it, but I do remember a very specific moment when I did know I wanted to do it for the rest of my life. You know, I was a child actor. You know, I don't like saying I was a child star. I was a kid who acted, you know. My older siblings did it first, and then my mom just threw me in. But she was a lover of culture, a lover of the arts. We would go see theater. We would go and watch old movies. I probably have seen more old films than I've seen current films. And I started doing like commercials and modeling diapers and, you know, me and Bugs Bunny just, you know, chilling on a street corner together, modeling these diapers. You know, that was me. And it wasn't until I did a film, it was my second film called Eve's Bayou, which you mentioned. And I clearly remember being in rehearsals with the writer-director Casey Lemons and her.
How old were you?
We started rehearsals 3 days after I turned 10.
Wow.
And we were in rehearsals with the actor who played my father, the legendary Samuel L. Jackson. And I didn't know who he was back then. He was just a guy, you know, who was hella cool. And they were talking to me about the interior of the character, the inner thoughts of the character, right? And they were asking all the W's, the why, the where, you know, all of the questions. And they were asking me, they were getting me to think like Eve, right? And through the rehearsals, you know, they would do all these weird games, and now I understand, you know, what they were doing, but I didn't then. It just was fun for me. It was play, you know? And there's a very specific scene in that film, and it's a scene where I'm talking with Sam's character, who's my father. I've just witnessed something really disturbing. I've witnessed him cheating on my mother. And he's talking to me about everything except for that event. And I ask him why he never danced with me. And in that moment, we're on set, we're actually filming by then, and I get up and I hug him. I'm smiling the entire time, and I get up and hug him, and it occurred to me that the smile should drop because it was a mask that I had on in order to protect him. And the fact that I could think like her and lose myself and make decisions as her was a high that I've been chasing ever since. And it was the moment that I knew, oh, I want to do this for the rest of my life, because I felt that I understood myself a little more. My parents were in, you know, a really tumultuous relationship, and there were a lot of similarities between me and Eve. And I understood what was going on around me more just by embodying Eve. So that is the moment I knew, okay, this is not just playing, I actually need this.
When I was born, my thing it was probably similar to most of us here. Is that I did terrible at school. I was, you know, most likely to fail, and doing a play and getting up in front of people and either making them laugh or feel something gave me a place to be. It was really as simple as that.
You were a dancer too, early on.
Yeah, my mom was a dance teacher, so when I was a kid, I wanted to be Baryshnikov. Yeah. I was like, but I grew up in Long Island, so I got my ass kicked most of the time for that. I was like Billy Elliot without the talent. Or the Karate Kid without the karate, you know. But yeah, I love dancing, and that brought me to to theater. And I remember I did like the elementary school plays and stuff, but in high school we had this great, I was very lucky. We had an English credit. It was called Living Theater, and it was a small black box theater. And we did improv plays about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and it was super, super cool. And the teacher was pushing the boundaries. But I remember doing one of those plays, and a teacher who, you know, really had dismissed me as an idiot. Remember seeing, he saw me in that play, and the next day came to school and just looked at me different, saw me different. So that you know, kind of gave me wings to keep trying to make it happen.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar, well, I guess to Jurnee, except I was in the theater with my mom.
And your dad.
And my dad, yeah. Yeah, it's a great moment you remember, because I'm trying to think of, like, do I have that moment? But I remember putting makeup on and being like, in fact, where's the hair and makeup right now? Is that right? And I remember, like, you know, pretending to be Humphrey Bogart and stuff, and it was that kind of thing. You just get addicted to it, and you know, that's it, you know. But yeah, Christian Bale, child actor, Chris Walken, yeah. Fishburne, yeah, Apocalypse Now.
So, what advice would you give to actors who are just starting out, or maybe like some of these people, especially still in training? Because it feels like the business is hard and out of reach for some people. Like there's where you guys are, and then there's where they are, and sometimes the image of the road isn't clear, and we don't know how the road's going to come. But what advice would you give in terms of maybe keeping the faith or keeping the instrument going? Or I don't want to get into practical things like should I live in LA or should I live in Atlanta, but more about just how to keep it going.
What we're doing right here, this dialogue, you know. I think that's why we're here. You said that we're here for you and we're here for you, but I think we're here for us. I mean, I think I could speak on behalf of the both.
Well, I dragged these guys into this, so it's my.
We're here to learn too, and I think that's you know, when that goes, I think you're in trouble when you're not, you know, trying to, you know, search for something new. Class. The plays are the thing. So it's like we've all studied with this guy. We know how talented he is, Terry, and how special he is. And a great teacher, inspiring teacher is everything. But also, I would say, as you leave this studio and keep going, you'll have to return to the plays, because the plays are the thing. The great plays are the thing that will teach you how to be the artist you are. So I would just say keep reading those plays, and when the business, because it sucks. It sucks. It's full of idiots and assholes and. But the work is amazing. The craft is amazing. So when you just go to that, you know, they're all idiots and assholes and this is all a waste of time, that will be the death of it. But if you continue to the plays, the training, but to the plays, the great writing, sit in your backyard, sit in your apartment, memorize a soliloquy, do it in the shower. When you're with that, you won't fail. But when you get rid of that and get into the kind of the cynical nature of it and get lost in the silliness of the business, which I confront every 4 seconds, it won't work. It won't work.
Yeah, you know, these two are two of the biggest acting nerds I know, and I mean that as a compliment. Meaning nerd, another word for that is fanatic. You know, in other words, I know things that they've both done, Jurnee and Chris, to prepare for a role that are just obsessive. You know, and I think that's what Chris means by reading the play's the thing. You know, and the movies. The movies and the plays are the thing, to the stories. It's all about the stories. Billy Crudup's another acting nerd friend of mine, and he's fanatic, and he's obsessive about his preparation, and just the love of telling the story, and how do you serve the story, you know? But you guys might have other questions that are more specific, but I mean, that's the long and the short of it, I think, yeah.
And also, I think you guys talk to each other a lot and other people in your community. Like, you keep each other alive. I know that, you know, you'll say, well, I was talking to so-and-so and I was reading with him. Or like when Yule, who's another part of our family, when you were working on Moon, Yule would come over, Crudup would come over, Ivan Martin would come over there, Mike Godair, you're always working with Mike. Like, you're just working with each other, working on stuff, getting feedback. What do you think of this?
Yeah, we did readings a lot.
Yeah.
There were always
Orphans.
Yeah, we read Orphans. That's right. Yeah.
For a long time. We just
Yeah.
get together once or twice a week with Messina and you and work on Orphans.
Yeah.
Because you were going to try and do it with somebody, and then things changed. But
Yeah.
Just because you were obsessed with the play and with the work and with getting feedback, and like Chris was just telling me a story about like sending you some dailies, you know, say, what do you think of this? And like, so there's all this peer stuff,
Yeah.
which I think you guys can do with each other, right? Like, you don't have to pay a coach necessarily. You can coach for each other. I'll make you pasta and you work on my monologue, and you know, so that you're not alone, because I think this idea of community is pretty important, right? You can get kind of
Absolutely.
lonely.
Yeah, find a play, read it with your friends if you can. I mean, we used to do readings, I mean, I don't know, in the 90s, 80s.
Well, the Labyrinth, all that.
The Labyrinth was, yeah, the Labyrinth Theater Company. And, but you know, auditioning was different back then. You know, we were going into, yeah, like 3 of us
Actual
studios,
rooms.
actual rooms and that's how you'd meet actors. In fact, I know Sam Jackson actually recommended, he said New York actors were different than LA actors, and that, you know, in New York, we would recommend people, say, I'm not right for this, you're right for this, because you'd meet actors in the hallway, you know, and that doesn't really happen anymore, which is kind of sad, you know.
That was my first job out of working with Bill Esper. That this guy, a wonderful guy in my class, had a job, and then he got another job, and he recommended me to Neil Simon's daughter, and I got a job in a play like 2 weeks after we finished, because he gave it to me. You know, I mean, I had to audition, but I had the inside track, so that's cool. Yeah.
I want to say also one thing too is that along these lines is just the cavalry isn't coming. You know, they're not coming.
The South by South speech that are you referring to?
No,
what I think?
but what
Okay, never mind. Sure.
I like it though.
Mark Duplass does an incredible. It's on YouTube. Mark Duplass gives an incredible keynote speech at South by Southwest like years ago, in which he says that exact thing, and he breaks down independent filmmaking. But I'm cutting you off, so you finish your thought. Okay.
Getting a hot mic. We got a hot mic here. Hot mic.
Is it my mic? Is it your mic?
It's mine. It's a hot.
But that exact point that he talks about is like his first film he sold, you know, they made for like $1,200, you know, and it's what you're all speaking to in terms of collaboration, finding your tribe. I mean, I think we're in an incredible opportunity now in the industry where we actually don't need the system. We have so much available to us, so much in terms of technology, just on our freaking phones. I mean, if you wanted to make a short film tomorrow, you can. You could write it, you could direct it, and you could star in it, you know, and you could put it up, and you can submit it, and we don't actually need the conventional system the way we used to, and that excites me because I'm so tired of the like traditional gatekeepers, and I'm so tired of the traditional stories being told by the same type of people, right? And so we need you. We need more filmmakers. We need more storytellers. We need more actors who have really unique experiences and really unique point of views. And whether it is mounting a play at a local cafe. I mean, I used to live above the Sugar Bar. The Sugar Bar. No, it was on 72nd. It was Ashford and Simpson's bar.
Oh, wow, yeah.
You remember that? Does anyone remember the Sugar Bar? Yeah, okay. Does it still exist? Does the Sugar Bar still exist? I don't think so. But every Thursday they would have open mic or like the opportunity for people to get up and showcase their talents, right? And so many incredible talents I've seen just kind of get up and do a monologue there, and then someone was there and put them in touch with someone else. And, you know, we don't have to actually wait for approval to create our art. We really don't.
There's a guy, John Dapolito. Are you here? I think I saw you. Yeah. I mean, this is what you talk about, right? Like thinking of auditions and cameras is like you're making movies. So it's right up. He studied with Bill and is a wonderful teacher. And do you know Johnny Dapolito? Yeah, yeah. And we were just having this conversation a couple weeks ago, and like the power, you're just literally taking what he was saying to me the other day is just like, you guys have an incredible opportunity, and I love this idea of bypassing the system.
I'm reading Quentin Tarantino's new book.
Oh yeah, it's great.
It's so good. It's really good, and he talks about the transition from old Hollywood, right? And when I was reading the chapter about that, I don't know if it resonated for you, but for me, it felt like he was talking about now. Like there's a real transition from the old way of doing things and the new way of doing things. And everyone wants to like, don't read what's written on the internet because it just will make you depressed. You know, everyone wants to act like, oh, it's the age of streaming and content. Like screw that word. I hate that word, content. You know, but it's true, you know, like we're in a season of transition, but we need the innovators. We need the folks willing to think outside the box and not wait for that audition or that agent to call you, right? I'm rambling.
No, that's right.
It's great.
That's right. Yeah, Europe's doing a lot more, or Mexico, or you know, Korea. I mean, like, they're doing cool shit, you know. And
I saw a film recently called Come Closer.
who kind of?
It's a filmmaker from Israel. And it's based on, I met her recently, the filmmaker, young woman, 27 years old, so inspiring. She lost her brother. And through the grief of losing her sibling, she wrote this story about grief, about a young woman losing her brother. Shot it for no money. You know, it's now the official submission from Israel for the Academy. 27 years old. I mean, it's so inspiring to me when I see folks that are just like, I'm not gonna wait. I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a traditional Hollywood connection, but I got a story to tell.
And you all are you have a great thing here. You can feel it already. You have this community. So I would just recommend that you stay close. And just piggyback on everything Jurnee was saying is because as actors we're always stuck waiting for, like, you know, I've spent most of my career going like, I know that call's coming in. You know, there was a section of my life where I'm like, my voicemail must be broken. It must be. Because no one has called. No one's left a message. There's no missed calls. Nothing's happening.
Is that what you mean about the cavalry?
Yeah, just somebody must have heard that and said it to me, you know, because
You
I'll
love
have to check it out.
this
I like
speech.
Mark is amazing, but yeah, it's exactly what Journey's saying. It's just that you have the community. I think what's hard sometimes, because I live in LA now, but I'm from New York, and in LA, we're all so spread out in our cars, and there's like, everybody's just kind of passing each other by at a Starbucks writing a script, you know? But here you have one another, and, you know, you've worked together, you've seen each other, you know, struggle through the work, and I would just recommend as you move forward to keep each other tight. You know who you love or you're bonded with, or you know who's a good writer or who's a good director, and make your own stuff. You know, I'm just stealing from Journey, but make your own stuff, because it will be so much more rewarding than, you know, most of the stuff that's out there.
And just to piggyback on what you're saying, and then I'm gonna shut up because I really feel like I'm talking too much about this, but I'm passionate. Because I'm also in this phase in my career where I'm like, the scripts suck. The scripts I'm sent they really suck for someone like me, you know, like I've been fortunate to still work with people that I'm excited about, but the majority of things I read are really awful. And no, it's just, you know, it's true. And so then I'm going, okay, how can I like take this play and reach out and adapt it, or get some friends of mine to do it together? You know, like, how do we not wait for the phone calls, right? Because it doesn't matter what level you get to in your career, the cavalry doesn't come.
But you just said that you did a part that was written for a man, the one with Jude, and there was 2 of those.
Yeah, Jude Law, there's a film I'm in with him that comes out in December. I'm not plugging it, but
The Order, very good. She's very good.
We worked on it.
We worked on it. Yeah, it's
cool.
called The Order, but you know, it was originally written as a man.
Dark shit.
Yeah. The Burial, the one with Jamie Foxx, was
Yep.
originally written, the role I played was originally written as a man.
Yeah.
The Apple Show was always a woman, but not a woman of color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's important. I mean, you know, it's getting, maybe it's a little different now, but like, you guys read Does a Tiger Wear a Necktie in the class? That play? Nobody knows that play. Okay, but it's but Pacino won an Obie for that, and if you look at the description, for the character, it looks nothing. It's like curly-headed, tall Irish guy, you know, and you know, Pacino did the part. He was great. I think somebody dropped out and he stepped in. That's important to kind of think about that stuff. I mean, it's different now, but like, to go against type, you know. I mean, sometimes they look at you after 5 seconds, you go in the room and they know they don't want you, you know. Because just by your look, you know. And it's over within 5 to 10 seconds, right? And that's the way it is, but, you know.
But Sam, that I tell this story a lot, but how you got Moon is so cool. You want to tell that story?
I mean, we had a meeting about something else.
You and Duncan.
These mics are hot, aren't they?
Yeah. These are spicy mics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a meeting, me and Duncan, and
Duncan Jones, who's David Bowie's son, was directing a film.
Yeah, which he ended up making years later, and he wanted me to play a creepy bad guy, and I said, I don't want to play a creepy bad guy, and then he said, all right, well, what are you interested in? And we started talking, and then we got into a conversation about sci-fi, and we started talking about 2001 and Blade Runner and Alien, all these movies that we kind of nerded out on, and then we started about Alien and how much we loved the acting in it, and that everyone was kind of like working class, and it was kind of like you guys know Alien, the original? Yeah. So the cast was like, everybody had turned that movie down, by the way, like all the big actors of the time had turned that movie down, and you know, William Hurt turned it down, everybody, and then they get Harry Dean Stanton, Yaphet Kotto, Sigourney Weaver, Tom Skerritt. Veronica Cartwright is incredible when the alien pops out of the stomach, but the acting was kind of like for lack of a better term, like a Cassavetes movie or something. It was like a gritty movie, and then all of a sudden this alien pops in, and you're like, what's going on? You know, because it's like, it feels like a gritty acting movie, and then there's this science fiction element. And we were sort of struck by that. And there was another movie, anyway, I'm forgetting, but we talked about that, and then he went away and wrote this script. Yeah.
And I don't think you knew he was writing the script.
No, that's right, with Nathan Parker. I
So
think, yeah.
just kind of like the conversation ended,
Yeah.
and then one day,
And then one day the script showed up, and it was like Sam 1, Sam 2, Sam 3, yeah, and then
he wrote a movie for Sam,
yeah. I was very, very lucky. Very lucky.
which is an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We worked on it.
It's like watching a master class, Sam. Legitimately.
Thanks for saying that. It's very embarrassing. But yeah, we worked hard on that thing, and I think Yule came in, and we switched roles. And
Yule
stuff.
came in, Crudup came in.
Yeah.
Mike, did you come in for that? I think.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Probably pulled
Ivan, maybe.
all the
Yeah.
favors I could. Yeah, and we'd switch roles,
Yeah.
and then he said, watch Midnight Cowboy, and watch buddy movies. That's something that Terry said. He said you should be watching buddy movies. And Midnight Cowboy, I just completely, blatantly stole from Ratso Rizzo. One of the clones gets very sick, and I basically stole the impediment from Dustin Hoffman, from Ratso Rizzo, which is essentially like tuberculosis or something, I don't know. Whatever the hell Ratso Rizzo has, and I literally just stole it. And in fact, we tried to recreate a thing with the two clones where he combs Ratso's hair. And back at that time, I don't know if it's still hard to make, that technology is very difficult. And they have something called a motion control camera. And I said, I want the clones to touch. And the techie guys were like, no, you can't have the clones touch. No. And I was like, what do you mean? I gotta touch. They're like, no, that's very difficult. We got And I was like, well, can we just have touch once? Like, I just want to do this thing where I comb his hair and hug him. And he's like, well, we'll see. We like, look at the computer, and they get the tennis balls out, and they figure it out. But it was very, very techie.
He was acting to a tennis ball because he had to talk to himself.
Yeah, that was a whole thing.
Yeah. So this isn't on my list of questions, but when we studied, with Bill, it was a no-brainer to study. Like everyone just go, yeah, let's go train. And it feels nowadays that maybe it's because of texting, maybe it's because of fear, that the idea of acting success for a lot of people is having a job rather than being good. And so I find, just in terms of like the amount of people who want to come here, we have great people. I love you all for coming to the studio, or thinking about coming to the studio, or having gone to the studio, because I think that's where it's at, is like train and be good. But a lot of people just think that what it's about is like, let me just work on my self-tapes. Let me just network. Let me just get a lot of followers. And I wonder if you notice that in the people that you work with sometimes who have like smaller parts, or because you're always advising people to train, right?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that where it's at? That's part of the training is plays, and part of the training is getting a good teacher or wherever you are.
Yeah.
But what do you think of that? It makes me sad.
Well, I want to be empathic to that, it's okay to want to be a movie star or be ambitious. Ambitious can be, it doesn't have to be a bad word, ambition, But I guess we all trained with teachers, and I'm sure I don't know what percentages are working actors and what is not here, but you're probably, the people who are not employed are probably going like, yeah, that's easy for you to say, do some readings or whatever, and get a job, but how do you get the fucking job, right? But I guess what we're saying is it's so corny, but the love of acting is eventually gonna get you the job, and I know that sounds really corny, but it's really the love and wanting to perfect that craft.
It's like Field of Dreams.
It's like a field of dreams. I know it sounds really like, oh yeah, that's easy for you to say, but it's kind of true, and we could go into detail about that. What do you guys think?
if you build it, they will come.
No, that's well said. Yeah. What was the question?
Yeah, what was the question? Oh,
I guess it's what do you think about training and how important is training and
So important, yeah. I think that's the only answer is it's essential. But I like what you said, Sam, because it's like, sit around and do some readings. How do you pay your bills doing that, I don't know. What you said something about likes. What did you say about likes? Terry? That I don't know anything about. What did you say? You said something like
get followers?
followers.
What did I say?
I can't answer that. That I have no idea. That I'm thankful that I missed the boat on that. Yeah. It's essential that you study.
Take that in our office.
That's Terry's youngest student back there, by the way.
Yeah. Oh wow. Do you
Hey.
know she's named after you, Journey? Her name is Journey. That's Journey.
Hey, Journey.
I sent you a picture of her when she was born. Today is her first birthday. Journey.
Happy birthday, Journey.
Hey, happy birthday
Birthday to you.
you.
Happy
birthday to you.
Happy
birthday, dear Journey.
Happy birthday
To you.
Yeah. That's Javon. Javon is a second year. During first year, his wife was pregnant. He came to class, and I was there fucking Javon, go to your wife, And I had to push him to go, and then this is what came out, and right, and this is Journey, and she not only has your first name, she has your second name. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And today's her first birthday. Yeah.
Oh yes, it's the jeans for sure. Yes. Everybody's looking at you. This is Journey. Oh, you look at the camera. Look at the camera. Thank you.
Okay.
Look all of them.
Unbelievable. And then he came back to class. Yeah, Yeah. So Marina, I think I'm gonna go to the submitted questions now. Is that good? Okay. Further front coming in. All right. Yeah, hot mic. Thank you. So current second year student Lorenz. Are you here, Lorenz? Yes, that's Lorenz. I'm going to read Lorenz's question. It's for Sam. Hello.
Hello.
I loved Sam's work in Vice. He played George Bush. I would love to know the process for creating a character with creative license that is also a recent prominent historical figure. And that's not, you've also done Chuck Barris, you've done a bunch of people who are real, Bob Fosse. The movie also has, this is a paragraph. The movie also has such a distinct tone when it comes to its characters. And I would love to know how much of that is your own intuitive crafting and work from the text, and how much is finding that with the director, which is Adam McKay. So boiling it down is how much can you do when it's somebody that everyone knows, like George Bush, and how much can you, because you weren't doing a clone of him.
Yeah, well, first of all, how long do you have? We'll be here till some, no. We were just talking about that with Italian accents. We were talking about, talking about using De Niro in Godfather 2. But there's so many examples of that with these famous people, when you play real people. Jim Carrey, yeah, Andy Kaufman, Shel Williams, Marilyn Monroe, Jamie Foxx Ray, it just goes on and on and on. But if the person's famous, you're fucked. You gotta and George W. is very famous. So you know, Austin Butler just did great Elvis thing, and you know, um, I go down a real rabbit hole. But that's me, and I'll watch everything. I'll watch all the stand-up comedians that imitated George Bush. I'll watch, you know, Josh Brolin, Will Ferrell. I'll watch everything, but not everybody likes to do that. I do that, and then I had a dialect coach. Not to bore you guys to tears, but I had a dialect coach, and I was trying not to get in my throat, because when you do the George W. Bush impersonation, the first thing is you get kind of in your throat talking like that, right? So I wanted to get in my diaphragm, and so Liz Himmelstein helped me with that. And then I went to this guy, and we worked on the material, and
The best line didn't make it into the movie. The best info.
Is that a Kmart?
Clean up on aisle 6.
That's right. There was a drunk scene that was really funny. But
You also watched a lot of his, instead of his speeches, you watched his
interviews,
his talk show appearances
on Jimmy Kimmel, and I
Yeah.
would grab ad libs from there, and I was kind of obsessed. And but the main thing with any dialect, whether it's a famous person or not, is that I was saying to Chris, and I think this is true. I don't know if you guys agree, but I think that you want Chris or Journey or Sam to come through. And so I think it's best to do it as Sam, do it as Chris, do it as Journey. And then when we would do that with Chuck Barris and then do the impersonation and then go back and forth so that you don't lose the Sam
and the truth.
and the truth of the acting, the acting, just the acting, the bare minimum acting, without the impersonation.
We talked about that. Is Med Hanit here today? Yeah, we talked about the other day because she's doing Savage and Limbo Shanley, and
And you're doing an accent.
she's doing an accent. And I was
Yeah.
there like, I said, well, sometimes with Sam, we'll just go,
It's
let's just do it as Sam.
Yeah, and you told me that with Streetcar. Just
Yeah.
do it as Sam, and that's very important. You don't want to lose who you are, because that's what's original, right? And then, in fact, I got a twitch in my chin doing that part because I was doing that impersonation in the mirror all the time, and I started getting this twitch, and I started going crazy, and it just wouldn't stop twitching. And I went to a doctor. He said, take magnesium, you know. I was like going fucking crazy, you know. And it just went away as soon as I stopped doing the character. Yeah. So that's that.
There's hazards. You hurt your foot in South Africa, right?
That's right. Yeah, I stepped on a nail in my costume,
Yeah.
which was interesting.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Yeah. Not the nail. So this is for anybody from Kim Savarino over there, yeah, who graduated a few years ago, was our valedictorian. Yeah. And also a dancer, yeah. And Kim's question is, how has your relationship to setting goals and/or quote-unquote success shifted over time, especially as successful working actors? Part 2, what would a dream project be for you? And what challenges you or excites you when you think about your future? Thank you, exclamation point. Yeah.
When I was born. Okay, I tried it twice. It was a great bunch of questions, but what was the first part again?
How is your relationship to setting goals, or like what is quote unquote success, shifted over
Okay,
time?
let's start there quickly. That's changed because
Like, what did young Chris think success was, and then
yeah, there's no there. What young Chris thought was like, and it's still a challenge, is like, I gotta be something. I hope they like me. I hope I want them to think I'm good, which is still a WrestleMania. But ultimately now the goal has moved slightly. Talk to me in like 20 minutes, and is that the goal is versus ourselves, really. It's like a long, long marathon, and you're running against nobody but yourself. So that's how the goal has shifted. Wanting to be, and now looking inward and going, what am I? What is it? What kind of artist do I want to be? Am I growing? What's the second part? It was good too.
What would a dream project be for you?
I go back to what Jurnee said is writing. There's a lot of terrible writing, unfortunately. So the dream project would be something I could be completely scared of, and that was beautiful. That I didn't have to rewrite or argue about the structure, but that I wanted to do justice to such beautiful words.
That's great. That's good. Um, okay, Karen Osofsky, are you here? Yeah. Oh, wow, that's a long time ago, and you look like a teenager. Um, maybe for you, Jurnee, do you have a certain ritual for take? I'm gonna change it a little bit. It says for sleep or anxiety. I want to say like self-care. How's that? When you're on a rough shooting schedule or just more anxious about certain performances or work days, like how do you take care of yourself? Because TV especially is rough.
That's a great question. Yeah, the Apple show, we were shooting sometimes 16, 17-hour days, and then you gotta.
And she had her son with her. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. For sleep is what that was.
Sleep, anxiety, self-care. Yeah, does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a real believer when it's like you're training for a marathon. You train your body up. You know, you have to train your instrument up. So I do, have certain things that are part of my regimen when I'm shooting, and I have to be very disciplined with it. It's hard, yeah, because I have my son, who on my days off doesn't want me going to the gym, or doing my Zooms with Terry. He would always come in.
I had to make friends with Hunter. Because he's a little devil, all right?
Every single time, this Saturday I'm off, and that's our slot. Hunter comes in, Mommy, I need, and I'm like, it's my 2 hours with Terry, Hunter. We're almost done, but yeah.
And he just kind of like moves his body into the frame.
Yeah. We're in the middle of doing like something he can't hear.
With bad words.
With bad words, yeah.
Murder and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of water. We were just talking about that, how we both drink a lot of
We
water.
overhydrate.
Yeah,
We have
do.
a catheter on. Both of us.
No, but it's sometimes like a gallon a day when you're shooting, because emotionally you are running a marathon, and there's so much physicality you have to do. I do take a lot of vitamins. Magnesium is my jam, man.
Makes you go poopy.
No, you gotta get the right
It makes you tired.
dosage.
You got it the right dosage.
And
the
the
right kind.
The right magnesium. Yeah.
Hey, I want to hear about this character on the Apple show. He said it was a great part.
Fucking
Can you talk about
hardcore.
that?
You want to talk about
Can you
that?
talk?
You talk about it.
I'm so excited for you to see. I saw the first 3 episodes.
You saw it.
Yeah.
What's great about the part? What's challenging about?
Well, it goes back to the writing. Dennis Lehane. I mean, his writing is just so exceptional. It's the thing that I would approach every single time afraid of.
But hard, long days. So magnesium.
Vitamins. Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one. So I don't know who it's from because it's from a current student who's anonymous, for anybody here. And maybe you could all talk to it, because I think it happens all the time. And maybe it's what Chris was saying about the business is stupid or fucked up or whatever. But how have you dealt with working alongside actors, and I'm going to include directors and writers in this, that you may find hard to connect to, or find things that you love about them to make relationships genuine, or they're just pains in the ass, or they cut you in the middle of a take? How do you deal with difficult people and get your work done, is what I think is the question.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about. We have to be careful here.
We're not going to name names.
We have to be careful here.
And we're
but
going to edit
there are,
the tape.
Yeah, we can't say names necessarily, but it is amazing, film sets and television sets, how much it seems like they're actually trying to sabotage your acting. It's kind of amazing, and it's not necessarily anyone's fault. Everyone's trying to do their job. But I was thinking of a story you were
It's
telling.
some people's fault.
It's some people's fault sometimes, but it's kind of getting worse. Maybe I don't know, but it's getting more technical. And Chris was telling me a story about an actor, very prominent actor, who was getting kind of overwhelmed by the director, getting line readings. Do you remember that? Yeah. And it was like I was just seeing it in my head, and I was just like, wow, yeah, I can just see this happening. And that's a common thing, line readings, and I feel like it's amazing. Like they don't teach you that in class. There's no way to learn that. They're losing the light, and you're out of time. I mean, can you guys speak?
Well, it's just going off of you. Most people don't know anything about acting.
Especially directors.
Yeah, don't you think?
Really?
I mean, that's so you have to come in director-proof a bit, which is why we're here, which is why you're here, which is why you're with Terry, because you have to come ready to go. And hopefully, if you get a good direction, you're very lucky, and that would be great. But you have to be able to kind of decipher and translate horrible notes.
All the time.
All the time.
Or sometimes, like they have in their mind, well, I need this to happen because of a technicality, or the CGI has to be serviced in this way, or the sound engineer is gonna, and you're constantly having to negotiate. You find that sometimes?
Yeah.
And that's the collaborative process of like, okay, the sound guy's got to stand right in my eye line because he's trying to get good sound, and do you find that?
Yeah. Do you ever, when they tell you, like I'm telling you, it doesn't look stupid when you lean over like that, and you go, really? You kind of, because it really feels stupid. You're like, no. It looks great when you lean over like that. And then you do it, and you watch it, and you go, it looks stupid.
Yeah.
Why did I
It feels
listen?
really natural. Yeah.
What do you guys do in those moments, though?
I mean, it's so hard. You're trying to. I heard a quote from Holly Hunter that she got from Jenna Rollins, which is basically the translation is turning garbage into gasoline. Which is like turning frustration and your thing. And I was at Sam Jones' podcast with Holly Hunter, I think, and she talked about. Gina Rollins said, don't give away your fuel. Don't, if somebody upsets you, your cappuccino's cold or whatever the fuck it is, or somebody says, that's a bad example, but somebody says,
Cappuccinos are important.
Coffee can be very important on a set, yeah. But like anything that's frustrating you that seems to be going against everything you're doing, and that can be anything, and it might not even be anybody's fault, but you have to, she was just saying, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Just keep it. Hold on to it. It's gasoline. It's gasoline to drive the car. Use it. Use it.
And also, people are looking to you as a role model. And so you have to talk to your therapist or your coach or someone in private. You can't model that kind of stuff on set, right?
Amen.
Tell the Gene Hackman story from.
Well, it was kind of what Chris was just
Yeah,
saying, and I'm sure it's kind of what we're talking about, where, the cinematographers, you're always, as a young actor, you're trying to cater to the camera, and so, and they always do it in a very nice way. They say, hey, do you mind? And this was happening I was in a movie, a David Mamet movie that David Mamet had written and directing.
Can I put a camera like right here?
Yeah.
Like right now?
Yeah, exactly, like right there. So, it was Delroy Lindo, me, and Gene Hackman. We were in this car, and my character is in the driver's seat. This cop comes over, and they're older, sort of more experienced criminals, con men, and they talk to this cop. We're about to get arrested, and they talk him out of it. And I pull out a pistol, and I'm the young, dumb guy, and I do something stupid. And then Gene Hackman's supposed to yell at me, and
and he's in the passenger seat, and I'm in the driver's seat. And, you know, the camera department's going, hey, Gene, we're sort of blocking it out for the camera, and they're going, Gene, you know, could you just we're getting this beautiful light coming right off, just get a little closer to the dashboard. And he's like, and he's trying to sort of accommodate them, and then he's, you know, Gene, we're just getting this great, we just want to see that tinkle in your eye. And he's like, hey, guys, don't hem me in, okay? I gotta move. I gotta move here. So.
It was a more explosive when you told me the story.
Oh, really? Because I thought he was
like,
actually,
hey, you know, like.
well, he might have done a little bit of that.
Can
Gene.
you go from the beginning and make it more explosive?
Exactly. My very point. So I thought it was like he was, you know, you didn't want to fuck with him, but he was also like, not mean. He was just going like, boundaries, stay in your lane, back the fuck off. And in other words, you have to cater to camera. Obviously, it's always camera day on a set. So you have to cater to the camera. You have to figure out. But some days, you know, you're in the rain, you know, or something, and it's like Meryl and Viola doing a scene in the rain, you know, and you got to be emotional, and, you know, like maybe they can cater to you a little bit, you know, or whatever it is. And so, you know, it's like, so it's a fine line. It takes years to learn that, to not be a dick, but to ask for what you want and what you need, and not be mean about it and be courteous. But it is a tricky thing to learn, you know.
Like a costume that's too heavy, or.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
exactly.
whatever. So.
You guys, a lot of memories are probably.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'm thinking of one where we were shooting. It was Lovecraft. We were shooting. There's a scene in episode 3 where it's like we're doing an exorcism, and we shot it over the course of 3 days. There's all this practical special effects, but also CGI. There's a wind machine making the picture swirl. I mean, this director's shooting every single thing except for the actors. You know, and
You got to react to the green screen like it's a
we're
giant
doing
monster.
an exorcism. Like, you know, and it's my house. And I'm like, and so I finally went up to the director. This is, you know, lunchtime. And I know that we've got 2.5 more days of this. And I said to him, you know, look, I understand you got a lot that you got to do, but I think at the end of the day, what people are going to connect to is what the scene's actually about and what this means, you know. And so can we shoot us, you know, the actors, and then shoot all this stuff? Because we're every single take, even if it's not on us, we're full on, you know. But you have to find that ability to advocate for yourself, and not, because they're not thinking about your instrument. They're not thinking about the fact that you're an actual person, and take after take of exerting this energy. I mean, the gas is gonna get a little low. And so I find that he didn't mean harm by it, but he was not paying attention.
And that's a big part of the story. It's not just monsters. There's a lot of acting, a lot of.
Well, because what I think people connect to in that scene is the emotion that we are able to channel. They're not paying attention to the fucking pictures swirling around. And if they are, we're doing something wrong, you know? But it's hard sometimes to advocate for yourself and say, this is what I need in order to do my job well.
It's especially hard if you're just starting out and you're not number 1, 2, or 3 on the call sheet, you know? Yeah. Right?
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
So now I want to move to something less problem-oriented and more maybe joy-oriented, and think about maybe who are some of your favorite collaborators, directors you've worked with, or other actors you've worked with that are like in the Hall of Fame, you know, that kind of make this worth doing for you. Moments, projects. Chris can't think of one. when he was a child.
mean, 2 right here, 2 over there. So many. I mean, really, everybody you come across, even the bad ones, really teach you what you don't want to be.
You're so spiritual.
It's all going to be
How
gone.
many plays did you see in London, Chris, when you were in London making a movie?
I just was in London. I saw 11 plays.
It's a lot of plays.
It's cheaper over there, the plays.
Yeah, the thing in London, though, which I really liked, I mean, correct me if you think I'm wrong here, but in New York, which I love, which is my home, it's like everyone from your favorite TV shows in a play. In London, you go, who the hell is that? Who the hell is that? And who the hell is that? And they're just actors. They're actors that are just doing the work, and they're fantastic. So I wish, do you feel like that happens here in New York? Yeah. I'm sure it's in London too, but I felt it was less so. Great collaborators, yeah, it's really all of us. You. I mean, it's everyone you kind of touch really gives you something. They really do, and they turn you on to this conversation does. I learned something from Jurnee, from Sam, from you, from the questions, you know. Really kind of, we're so lucky to do this. And in a time like this that we're living in, the arts is, I mean, even more important. And we have to fight for the arts, and we have to, you know, we're holding a mirror up. You know, I know there are harder jobs and there's a lot of heartache. But when I was in London, since we're going to talk about it, since you brought it up, is that I was so reminded how lucky I am to do this, you know, and how, what a great way to spend our lives. So I think the arts, you know, it's always important. The world is, right, it's been quite a ride, but here we are, and now I think we have to go fight and tell stories and show people love, you know.
I thought you were going to talk about like Dolly Parton or something, but not yet. That was great. Do you want to say something?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been, you know, so lucky. You know, yeah, I mean, the incredible directors I've worked with and writers, and but theater comes to mind when it comes to actors because you're so fucking scared when you do a play. So I think of Nina Arianda, I think of Lawrence Fishburne, I think of Darren Criss, I think of you know, Jessica Hecht, Anna Reeder. People I've done theater with, you know, I remember going to Lawrence a couple times in the dressing room, and I said, "Dude, I don't know what's gonna happen tonight, man. I don't know what's gonna happen." He's like, "I'll be there." He's like, "I'm there. Don't worry about it. Whatever you bring, I'm come back at you." And in other words, he was giving me permission to suck, you know, in front of him. You know what I mean? And that's the trust you got to have, that tightrope on a stage, and so that when you do get to a film, it's a little easier, hopefully. You know, the reason, again, I say this all the time, but these actors, you know, some of your favorite actors probably did some theater. You know, the reason Chris Walken can do that speech in Pulp Fiction is because he's done Hamlet, he's done Coriolanus, you know, he's done all these parts, you know, Raul Julia, Viola, Merrill's,
Frances McDormand.
Frances McDormand, you know, they've done all these, they've done Oedipus or whatever it is, you know, and that's what you're talking about with the plays. The play is the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I learned so much on stage alongside the late great Miss Cicely Tyson. I got to Horton Foote's Trip to Bountiful. I did at the Amundsen and the Emerson, and every night it was a masterclass just being on stage with her. And yeah, I feel like my training's been so unconventional because I started so young and at a very early age was fortunate to work with some of our goats, like some of the greatest actors of all time. My first film was with Robin Williams. Like, I remember learning improv from him and him, him like giving me pointers on, and now I know, oh, that's Meisner. Oh, like I now know what he was doing. But these things that I just kind of, anyone I've worked with, I've always learned something from them and just pocket it, put it in my toolbox, Denzel Washington, he directed a film I was in called The Great Debaters, and that was like taking a masterclass. Being directed by him, there was a scene that we shot, it was about a debate team, and there was a scene we shot, and we got on set, it was the first debate scene we had to shoot, and it was in this tent, and I was nervous as fuck. Because we had done debate camp and I had gone and stayed with the woman that my character was based on and like done all this research and I was ready and got there, and after the first few takes he came up to me and said, you over rehearsed, didn't you? And I was like, I did. I was like trying to prepare that I over prepared. I over rehearsed. I was stale as fuck. No, I was. And he's like, it's okay. We're gonna shoot everybody else and then we'll come to you. I'm panicking. Cause I'm like, I got nothing, I'm out of ideas. I don't know what else he wants from me. We shoot everyone all day long. Then he finally comes around to me, starts doing like sets up a dolly to do a circular shot. Like he's really trying to find a way to get me like loose, right? And so he comes up to me when the camera is finally on me, right? He comes up to me and he says, if you're gonna ask a question, get an answer. Opened my world up. Because my character had the dream of being an attorney. And the debate took place in 1935. I'm debating whether or not Negroes should be allowed to attend a university, a public university. Well, in Texas during that time, I knew based on my research that the university I would have wanted to attend wouldn't have admitted me. So I'm fighting for my life. The stakes are so high. That's why I got to get the answer to this question. I'm fighting for my dreams. That one thing he said to me opened it all up. And the take that he ended up using, I got him, it landed like in an ancestral way on me. And what I was demanding for them was why not me too? Why can't I have my dreams come true? And that's the take he used. And afterwards we talked about it and he was like, when he went out to do the famous scene in Glory, the whipping scene, he didn't know how the hell he was gonna do it. He didn't know how he was gonna do it. He prayed to the ancestors to use him, but he didn't know. He didn't plan for that one tear that we all know. He didn't plan that. Like, you gotta leave, his point to me is you gotta leave room for magic to enter, for God to enter. And you gotta rehearse, you gotta prepare, but you can't over prepare. Because then you got nothing else, and. And so, yeah, these are all these like little tools I just have stuck in my back pocket of rehearsing, but not to the point of where you're still,
That's hard. So I have to check. So Marina, I'm thinking about opening it up to the folks. Yeah? Yeah. So, yeah. Did you have some announcements you needed to make too, or is that later? Or, okay, all right. Okay. Yeah, take my mic.
Thanks. And when you get the mic, if you can stand up and say your name, say how you're related to us, if you are a student, you're an alumni, you're a believer. That works. And ask a question and say who it's for, if it's for a specific actor. Oh, wait, how about? Oh,
I see a hand right here. Right, here you go. Hi, thank you.
Hi. Oh, there's so many people. My name's Amanda Zeller. I graduated the 2-year program in 2024 this past June under Celestine Ray. My question is for. I've never heard that before in my life. My question is for anyone on the panel. I was curious if you all could share a story of like a point of pride in your life where you created an opportunity for yourself and how accomplished you feel from that. This could be like after the fame, but I'm also really curious of the opportunities you were able to create for yourself before you broke into the industry. Thank you. You're welcome, Terry.
Go ahead.
Okay, I feel like I'm going to geek more about Denzel, but I was cast in that movie based on not me auditioning in the regular way. I got sent the script, and I was in the Schomburg Library for months researching it, like in preparation for an audition. I never got an audition. What I got was called to be the reader.
No.
Yeah, I was called to be the reader. Yeah. I was called to be the reader for another actor that Denzel had as his first choice for the male lead. And my reps called me, were like, hey, so the casting director needs you to come and they just need you to read. Man, when I tell you, there was no way I was going in and just as a reader. I went in and I was auditioning in my head. I'm like, yo, Denzel's in the room? Look, okay. Watch this. And literally, the audition ended up becoming me and Dee improvising with each other. And he called my rep the next day and was like, she's a damn good actress. Who is she? Like, you know. And I ended up getting the job. The other guy didn't. You gotta hustle, man. You gotta take that opportunity.
I busted into a casting office, not invited, and when it was 3 of us studios, maybe, I don't know. I went in for Last Exit to Brooklyn, and I'd already maybe read or something. They were reading Danny. They were reading Danny in the Deep Blue Sea. They did that for Godfather 3 too. They read Danny scenes. Yeah. They didn't have a script. They were calling it something else, you know. Godfather 3 was called Secret Journal 2. And they would have you read sides from Danny in the Deep Blue Sea. But I walked in just all 50s out. Like I watched Happy Days like 500 times and you know, slicked my hair back and some Hawaiian, I don't know what I wore. And I was like, hey, you know, I'd be an extra in this if, you know. And he's like, and I think it was John, somebody, he said, I think we can do better than that. We'll figure it out. And they, you know, and that's how it kind of ballooned from there, I think, yeah.
And you got a part in that.
Yeah. You guys ever listen at the doorway, listen at the audition to whoever's auditioning? Everybody ever done that? Now they're zooming, yeah.
That's tough. Zoom auditions.
Yeah, how do you feel about zooming auditions?
Chris, do you want to can I know how you made your own?
I don't think I've made any opportunities. Yeah, let's move on.
No. Let me just say, your audition for Birds of Prey was outstanding. No.
We're going to screen it here later today.
No, it was like, because the character was not, yeah.
I went around set showing everybody.
No. They kept bragging about, like, this actor did a totally different, like, take on it, and it was so different than everyone else's. And do you remember what you did?
I do. It's very nice of you, and I'm going to go with you that I like the self-tape, because you can be in control of it. You know, you go into a room back in the day and you just do two takes, and they would be like, "Got it," and you'd be like, "No, it's not good enough." They'd be like, "No, I think it's good," and you'd never hear anything again. So at least this is an example of I spent 3 days on it or whatever, you know. I had props, I had the whole thing.
Knives. Yeah, it was exceptional. It wasn't an audition. It was the scene.
It was better than what I did in the film, I think. There you go. We're all learning.
Sat in the chair and got all those scars on your face. That took like 3 hours or something. You know, anyway, it doesn't matter.
I've been in therapy for a while.
All right, really quick. Hi, my name is Christopher Lewis Dawkins. I just graduated this past year.
Hey.
Studied under Celestine. Hey, thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, all right. I have really, really quick questions for each of you. I'm going to be specific and fast. I'm going to work backwards. All right, so Chris. All right, so Chris.
I'm getting nervous.
All right, so no, don't be nervous. Don't be
Okay.
nervous. All right, Chris. So Celestine said that when she did the online thing with you and Terry, she really loved working with you because of your passion. So for you, after being in the industry for so long, what keeps you so passionate and a nerd about the work? I'll pause right there. Jurnee. Okay, so like obviously you're a badass, you're super, super dope, but it's 2024. Sometimes like diversity and inclusion is like the cool thing. How do you walk into a room confident that you're there because you're just a shit and you're solid and you don't let that noise and that type of language and stuff like cause you to feel a sense of imposter syndrome? Pause right there. Sam, you've worked with Terry for many, many years. He's coached you on many different projects, and some people would say, Sam, like you've been on many projects with him already. Do you need an acting coach? Why do you keep going back? Why do you keep going back? And then last question. Last question. Terry, you've worked with all of them. What do you love about each of them individually as an actor? And I would say more importantly, as a person. That's it.
Wow.
Nice work.
Wow. And the cool sweatshirt.
Start us up. You start, we'll go back. You start. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, thank you. Wow, I'm on the spot.
You have to answer it as quick as he asked
Yeah,
it.
okay. Well, you know, if you coach, like, this is all voluntary. It's not required. It's not in anyone's contract that you have to coach or that. No one said, Chris Messina, we don't have any jobs, so you better take a class. Jurnee Smollett, you need to coach on something. Sam, I mean, this is all because of their, you know, the studio's about training the passionate actor committed to excellence, and these are three people who are so committed to excellence. So I have mad respect for each of them because of their individual talent and artistry, but also because of their relentless need to get it as good as it can possibly be, no matter what it takes. So I love their work ethic, and I love their elevating things, and they make me better. And they're just fun. They're just fun hangs. Like Jurnee, this is actually the first time I've ever met Jurnee in the flesh. Well, like an hour or two ago, right? And she just gave me, you're so beautiful. I mean, you're just incredibly beautiful. And her hug was like such a quality hug. It was hardcore, and it was sincere. And these are great human beings who are also great artists. And Chris, you know, we use it as a clip often, but like you crying from your house in your leather chair during that master class and just sharing how you almost gave up acting, and just the way you wear your heart on your sleeve is so inspiring to me. And I wish we could spend more time together because I love you so much and I respect you so much. And it was an honor to work with you. And he came in, I thought we were just gonna work on like one scene, but he said like with Celestine, like, okay, we're gonna do Harold Pinter, and okay, never mind. Okay, now we're gonna work on Uncle Vanya. Okay, never mind. Now we're gonna work on like, and he just kept like switching it up because there was so much material and so many great plays that he wanted to get to, and keeping me on my toes and keeping Celestine on her toes, and it was all great work. And all open. It wasn't like he was telling me how it should be. Like we were really collaborating. And then I could talk about you for like years, because we've had so much fun together. And I remember getting, back in the day when we didn't have cell phones, like I'd call into my answering machine. I was in like Thailand, and Sam was doing Box of Moonlight, I think, and like talking. There've been many talking you off a ledge moments, because you're so open, and also you're so much fun, and like Sam calls it when we work together, the moment factory, and I never feel pressure to like come up with the goods. We just are like figuring shit out, and we do it a lot. Like he doesn't just go through a script once. We'll go through it twice or 3 times sometimes, and things will change. And you have such reverence for the craft, and you're just a lot of fun and a great human being. So that's that one. Yes? I could talk for a long time about all these people.
Yes, yes, I need an acting coach desperately because, and this one in particular, and that's also a long conversation.
But why, Sam?
Because, well, you know, there's many examples. I mean, the way back thing comes to mind. You know, I tell this before about, you know, Terry's always thinking outside the box, you know, and he said to me, "Why don't you sing this line?" And I said, "What do you mean, like as a rehearsal thing, like a?" And he's like, "No, on the day when you film you should sing this line." And it's talking dialogue, and I was looking at him like he had 3 heads, and I said, "Okay," and I'll try it. And it's in the movie, you know. I'm singing the line to this kid, and
But is it a good moment?
it's a great moment, and it's what Terry does. And there's a thing, I'm sure you guys have heard this, when Terry says, "Don't suffer." Have you guys heard that? And that's so important, you know, not to suffer, and just, you know, because acting is active, right? You're going forward. There's an intention, so it's not about suffering necessarily, I don't think. But that's a great thing. I mean, there's so many examples of why I need this guy.
The stammer.
The stammer in 3 Billboards. Yeah, I accidentally said, when I said mama, I went mama. He said, "Do that again." I said, "Do what again?" He said, "You stammered when you said mama." I said, "No, I didn't." He says, "Yeah, you did. Do it again." And so I did it again, and then it became a thing. So like, I think that's the thing. It takes a village. You know, you got to have people like an athlete has a conditioning coach, you know, and then you got the guy with the mitts, and you got the, you know, then you do the weightlifting and whatever it is. So you have a dialect coach, you know, you have a voice coach, you have an acting coach, and they're all, and I think you do have to compartmentalize some of that stuff and then put it all together, you know.
I think your question was about DEI and diversity, and if I walk into a room, do I have the confidence to know that I'm there? I mean, I know I'm the shit. No. I don't know that I'm supposed to say that. No. Honestly, I don't ever doubt the reason why I am somewhere. I have such a high faith in a higher purpose, a higher being, a higher power. I definitely know that where I'm meant to go, can't no one get in the way of, right?
Say that again.
Where I'm meant to go, can't no one get in the way of, yeah. But no, I honestly, I never really think about all that stuff. That's for everybody else to talk about. That's not my business. I gotta like keep my head down and do the work. Like who I am, how people perceive me really has nothing to do with me. It really doesn't. My background, my complexion, my gender, my faith, whatever that is, I'm either right for the role or I'm not. And if I'm not right, I don't want to actually be in it. You know, I really do have that trust of like, you know, my resume is not 50 pages long because I don't care about the money. I don't care about, like, there's certain things maybe I should care a little more about, but I don't, you know. But no, I don't walk into a room doubting whether or not I'm supposed to be there. I more so battle my own inner censor about whether or not I'm gonna be happy with my work. I don't really worry about how other people are gonna perceive the work, but I do, yes, and that is part of the work. That is why we train. That is why we work with Terry or the Alexander technique or whatever that is, the dialect coach, because I need to do all that work so by the time I get on set, it looks invisible. And I feel confident. And I don't have to think about all that stuff. I can think like her, you know? But no, I never really worry about the diversity conversations and stuff like that. I mean, child, I've been in it so long, you know, I've been told so many times that we're not willing to go ethnic on that role, or we're not gonna open it up, you know, so it's like, it is what it is. It's just, that's not for me to worry about. Me holding up space is a radical act.
Okay, shout out to Celestine. Yeah. Amazing. What's that? Oh, she's amazing. She's an amazing actress and teacher and human being. So I had a great time working with her and you, Terry. I think just going back to how I started, the nerd, I think, I think it's because I did terrible in school. And through this craft, I get to learn about people and things that in a book, I'm dyslexic, the words would all pop around. But when I get into the body of it, I just get a little bit closer to something else, you know? So I think that helps me nerd out.
We got time for like 1 or 2 more questions.
I'm seeing some people in the back. Wait. I just saw. Oh, wait, I'm going to go that way. Sorry. There's so many hands. Thank you. Oh, my gosh, so many hands. Yes.
I've been chosen. Hi, I'm Mary
Hey.
Page.
Hey.
I'm a second year in Terry's class. Mary Page. Thank
Right.
you. I actually audited that class on Zoom that you were in. I audited it. I was there. You probably don't remember. I was in a little square. What? I paid for it. I was there. You were wonderful. Yes, used your performance. But yeah, part of it. Long story as to why I decided, but that was definitely my first introduction to like watching the work and watching Terry work, and I was clueless and scared to be in the class, so I just sat there, and then it took me. Well, thank you.
This is a long time, has an equity card going way back to the last century.
Thanks, Terry. That feels very nice. Thank you. Thank you. But in terms of like the actual technique and how to have a technique, I felt clueless about that. And I think that brings me to my question, which I promise I will ask. And I think it's about using the actual Meisner tools that we are now getting equipped with, the emotional preparation and the particularization, which we learned last week, and all these like specific technical tools that Terry talks so much about. Obviously training and getting the technique of it so that when you're out there, you can say, okay, well, I actually don't know how to make this work. Let's go back to the technique so I can deliver 8 shows a week, or I can deliver these consistent takes. Like, specifically, how do you come back to those tools and put that into your work? And are you still using those tools all these years later? And
That's a good
I
question.
think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yes, you guys paraphrasing? Oh, not yet. Okay. Well, paraphrasing is a big rehearsal tool, very practical, and writers will look at you sideways when you do it, but you got to do it, and that's your homework to do probably at home. But sometimes in the room you do it just to kind of, people think it's ad-libbing, but it's not really ad-libbing. You're paraphrasing. Especially with Shakespeare, right? You got to paraphrase. That's a good tool. Particularizations, as ifs, very important, because you're not your character. Actions. Yeah, actions. What else? Preparation H. repetition is a great listening exercise. Yeah, and that yes, and that the
say that everything that Sam and I do together is from the work that he trained in. Meaning everything.
yeah, we use the vocabulary.
The vocabulary of what we do together is the toolkit that came from the 2-year program.
And that's really just to give you a vocabulary to kind of like to like really to give you something to work with, and that's all it is, you know.
Hey everyone, I'm Johnny Oliva, first year. My question is, how real is the box of being typecast in the industry, and have you all ever dealt with that, or what was your typecast in the beginning? Do you lean into it, and then at what point do you break free from it, and how did you all go about
Lean
that?
into it, use it, you know.
Yeah?
Use it, I think. I mean, whatever works, man. Whatever gets you the job. I don't know, but then you got to also go against it sometimes.
Right. I look at a career like
that-
Johnny Depp and the
say no
versatility.
if it's demeaning or whatever, but it's like it depends.
Yeah, I've done a lot of period dramas. I have, like a lot of historical pieces, and that was sometimes something. But I also love history, so I kind of don't mind. Like if it's quality, if it's with great filmmakers or great storytellers, or I love the character, I don't mind that typecast. But yeah, I've definitely been offered a lot of like, oh, I played an enslaved woman, so let me get offered all. They offer me all these different ones. It's just a different version of playing it in, someone running. Yeah. I don't know. I think trust your instincts, right? Just trust your instincts.
McConaughey, what? Busting out?
He said, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So he did it for a while. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
And then at a certain point, like you always say, the greatest power you have is to say no.
yeah.
So I think it's helpful to use it and get in the door, get the work, build up a resume, say yes a lot. And then at a certain point, if they don't have a lot of imagination, I don't think, casting people and agents, they see you, Gandolfini.
It's a
after
tricky
The
thing.
Sopranos,
Yeah,
right?
you have to have a boundary, as you say. You have to have boundaries. It's such a long, involved conversation. But as you said, McConaughey's that's a different sort of example. But I mean, there's so many examples of this thing. It's a very long conversation. That conversation, I'm not sure how to quite answer it correctly. You just got to do what you're comfortable with, but everyone has their Achilles heel too. What you don't want to do. Like, I've always had a hard time playing cowards, and actually those are sometimes the best roles, and you got to lean into that, well, I'm not The Rock, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, what am I, like, I got to like,
Jesse James.
Yeah, Jesse James. I didn't want to do that part. Yeah. I was like, I want to play, Jesse James or whoever, or Casey's part, So sometimes if it makes you uncomfortable, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. It depends.
Trust your instincts. So that is all the questions. And now I'm going to turn it over to Marina and Molly for a moment, and then we'll say thank you to these people, and we'll say goodnight, yeah?